We often wait for big wins before we celebrate, but real success is built on small and large victories. Today we're talking about how to celebrate, why we celebrate small and big wins as we move into consistency. We're going to talk about what that does to us, how to celebrate it, and why it's important. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. I'm so excited that you're here to join me for another day, another episode of my 100-day walk to consistency and health. This is day number 93, y'all. That's right, we are working. We are excited because you've made it this far. Every time you show up, every time you're here, every time you make a decision to be in this space, every time you are saying yes to yourself, you are making a decision and you're saying, I am important. Remember, consistency is your superpower. It helps you to be successful. Let's go ahead, let's get started. I'll see you on the walk. So we are deep, y'all, deep into the final stretches of our 100-day walk to consistency. And today we're spending time talking about something that is often overlooked, and that is celebration. And celebration sometimes seems self-serving. Sometimes it seems as though it is absolutely, totally unnecessary. But I'm here to tell you that celebration is one of the most powerful things that we can do in our quest for consistency and in our quest for success. Celebration is not beating our hands on our chest. It is not putting ourselves up as though we have arrived. It is simply saying that I am taking the moment, taking some time to say that I have achieved a particular goal. Remember, we've talked about setting those SMART goals. We've talked about how to create those milestones as we are moving through a success. And celebration is just a way of saying, yeah, we're checking that off. We are giving ourselves a boost. We are encouraging ourselves. We are sometimes reassessing where we are during a celebration and saying, man, look at where we've come, where we've been. We're excited to be here. And we're also always reevaluating. Remember, that is key, that reevaluation. Yeah, I keep saying that there are all these other videos that we've got to do because some of these concepts are so pivotal in how we set ourselves up for success, and they're important as we are moving down the road. We could probably have to come back and do some of those, right? But celebration is important. It's not just about joy. It's not just about a loud attaboy or hurrah. It's not just about, oh, look at what I've done. It tells your mind, it tells your body that this is worth it, that we have come a long way, and that we are that we're doing what we need to do to be successful. So today we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about how to celebrate wins, both big and small wins, in a way that fuels you, in a way that sets you up for continued momentum, that affirms you, and also sets you up to be successful long term. I'm waiting here. There's some cars going by in front of me here. And once again, I'm over at Bridge Street. The mall is, let's see, the mall is behind me. Let's see if I can get, all right, so that's where the mall is, over there. And I'm across the street. There's a part of the shopping center right there. And then on this side, they've really built this area up. Let me see if so this is the street where I'm waiting right here. And so there's a Hyatt Place right back there, right? And so let me just kind of turn around. So really, really nice area. If you've not had a chance to come and visit, this is a great, if you're coming to Huntsville, great area to stay because hotels, if you're looking for a place to live even, they've built up some nice apartments, and then across the street are all the shopping places. My sisters love this, by the way. Okay, so we're talking about how to celebrate big and small wins. And so first, why is celebration essential for progress, right? Why is this essential? So there is science that goes behind There we go, let's walk across. There's science that goes behind celebration. So the science says that celebration releases dopamine. That is that feel good, that is that satisfaction hormone. Celebration releases that. And remember, celebration, or the hormone, is also an anticipatory hormone. So that we anticipate certain things based on what has happened in the past and based on the response that our body has had. So when we celebrate, this feel-good chemical, if you will, comes out, and that reinforces the behavior. So it's kind of like, we've talked about Pavlov's and dogs, right? So let's not go there. But it's kind of like when you get on the scale and you've had maybe a challenge, and that first time you get on that scale and it looks like that scale has moved, you get a burst of dopamine. And so what that makes you want to do, it makes you want to continue doing what you did to get that first burst. And so after a while, your body begins expecting that dopamine. It begins wanting that dopamine. And so it pushes you now to do the thing that you were doing. Eating well, walking, running, jumping, swimming, rowing, whatever it was that brought that dopamine burst. And so it's this chemical response that you get. And if you are consistent, then your body begins wanting and expecting that. Now, there are, of course, negative ways that happens, or things that we do. That's the whole idea behind buffering behaviors, right? When we eat to soothe ourselves, or we do other buffering behaviors to soothe ourselves. So there is, of course, the negative of that, but we are using it here in a positive sense, that we are tying the things that we do to successful behavior. But here in this case, when we celebrate, the body releases that hormone, and it gives us satisfaction. It also helps to boost our drive. It helps to support our motivation. It helps to support the things that we're doing. And so in this area, a lot of people are out running, jogging, moving around. So I'm actually in a good spot. If I didn't have a house, I'd probably come down here. This is a great place. So behind me, I'm gonna turn around this way. Let's see. Okay, let me turn around this way. So these are some of the apartments and houses, and those are hotels. And then behind me is the West End. And you see Red Robin. Of course, there's the parking garage that's over here. All right. So the hormone, the release of this chemical, this dopamine, helps to enhance, reinforce the behaviors. When you celebrate, you teach your brain that the behavior that you just did is valuable. Because sometimes the brain doesn't know. It thinks actually that it's gonna hurt. Get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, go jogging, go running, go lifting, man. Oh, that's crazy. And so the body has to sometimes be convinced that what you're doing is beneficial. And this reinforces that idea that the things that we're doing, the behavior that we just did, is beneficial, because when we do it, we get this response. We get this, we get the release of this chemical. If you never reward your efforts, you continually train your brain that there is no benefit, there's no result, and it's not worth continuing. Now, there are people who are great at delayed gratification. They will work for years. They will work tirelessly to achieve a goal, and they're delaying their gratification. But what happens if there is never any gratification at the end? Then our brain says, that's not worth it. I should not do that. And that is what happens when we are not celebrating. Now, as we go along, there are the small wins that you will celebrate, of course. And then there are large wins that you will celebrate. And here, we're not talking necessarily about a particular type, but just that you should, as you're moving along the direction of success, you should be always finding ways and places to celebrate. And I'm trying to find, I'm just walking around as is usual. I'm in an area that I've come to a part that I don't usually come to. But that's okay, because we love exploring. There's some places that we went when we were in Paris and in London that we probably would not have gone, except that we were walking, right? And that's amazing. Okay. Yeah, so if you never celebrate, then you train your brain that it is not worth it, and that is not the space that we want to be in. There are two types of celebration, right? Or two types of things that you should celebrate. One, of course, those are those large wins, and we'll come to those in a minute. But also, we should celebrate short wins or small wins. Those things that sometimes we think are insignificant can have a profound impact on how we behave, on how our brain and our mind see things, and on our motivation and our drive. So let's talk about big wins. So number one, so big wins, these are your momentous things. These are the grand things. These are sometimes the things that we talk about when we talk about our goal, right? This is where we show, this is the thing that we're looking for. This is the saving the $100,000. This is the buying the house. This is the getting the job. This is the getting the degree. This is the losing the weight. This is the improving the A1C. This is the 90-day walk, right? The 100-day walk. Whatever the number of days it is that you decided you were going to do. And here we're doing 100-day. So this is that celebration. That's that big thing. That's the losing the 30 pounds, right? So all of those are big celebrations. And those are the ones sometimes that we will wait to celebrate. And I am trying to convince you that yes, those are worth celebrating. Hey guys, this is Dr. Dwain Woode again, and we've transitioned into our studio to end this walk, this conversation. So we're talking about wins, right? Big wins, small wins. And I was saying that we often wait for these big wins to celebrate. But I want to convince you that small wins are also worth celebrating. We'll come to that in a minute. But how do we go about celebrating some of these big wins, right? So how do we celebrate these momentous things that we've had? Now, it's easy to let them slip by. I'm going to tell you, even the big wins, sometimes it's easy to let them slip by. I remember we were celebrating 4 years on the channel. We've been on the channel, we've been doing videos, and it was coming up, and we were off somewhere, or we were getting ready to go somewhere, and I thought to myself, man, we'll just let this go by. But that was a milestone in the history of our show. It was a milestone in the history of our channel. And so what I did was I scheduled a 24-hour stream where we streamed a video for 24 hours. We had some guests who came in and gave us some shout outs. We had some folks that were here. We played some of our most popular videos, and it was an amazing time. And it is memorialized, right? Because on the channel, you can actually go out there on the channel and you can watch that 24-hour period. I had never done anything like that. Didn't really know how to go about doing anything like that. So I had to figure it out. But it was an amazing time. So things that you can do to celebrate, like that was an amazing one. You could take the day off. Right? If you've met your goal, your weight goal, you have met your savings goal, you have met your relationship goal, your health goal, whatever it is, take the day off to do something meaningful. Hang out with the family. Maybe that's a time where you guys, if you don't normally go to the park together, go to the park, but celebrate it somehow so that it is remembered. Buy a gift, buy a token. Something that represents your success. One of the things that I'm doing, and you'll see over here somewhere, so you probably can't see a good, get a good picture of it, but right in here, that is a shadow box that I have. And so whenever we travel, boom, 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 that way, whenever we travel, I get a pin from whatever country we go to, from whatever basketball game we go to. And I've created that so that I can look at that. We memorialize it. I've got my hats, right? So you guys see me with all the hats. You know where those come from? When we travel, when we go somewhere, I get a hat, I get a pin. My son gets a hoodie. So we are celebrating that. We're memorializing it so that we can always look back. Share your win publicly. That inspires other people. So can you imagine what it's like when you tell people that you've been walking for 90 days, 99 days, 100 days, right? That is a win. So begin incorporating those into your schedule and find ways to celebrate. There are things that you're going to think of that I don't think about. Maybe send me a message. Say, hey, this is how I'm celebrating. Okay? And then, of course, big wins are great, but also small wins. These are the day-to-day victories that form the foundation for the big long-term changes that we see. So one day, like, man, that's not a big deal. But each day that you do adds up to the 100 days. So celebrating each of those days, I have been celebrating every single day that we've been here, as we've been walking, as we've been moving, as we have been remaining consistent. So things like, I mean, what are some small wins? Like things like choosing water over soda. That's a win. Now, you have not seen yet the weight loss. You've not seen yet the blood sugar improvement. But if you keep doing that, and as you have kept doing that, you saw those changes. Saying no to fast food. If you normally eat fast food 3 times a day, 3 times a week, maybe you went down to 2. That's a win. Maybe you go to one of the fast food restaurants and normally you have whatever their meal is on the schedule or on the list, on the menu. But this time when you went, you got the meal, but you changed something in the meal that was healthier. That's a win. All of those, getting them together, when we put them together, they add up to the big wins. So celebrate those. Getting up in the morning for your walk, even though it was cold, even though it was raining, even though there was snow, even though there was ice, that's a win. And so you celebrate that, smile and acknowledge it in the moment. Man, look at that, I got up. Maybe you don't take the day off. Maybe that's not a go to the gym or go to the park. Maybe that's not a pin. But it is a celebration within you. When we talked about, is it okay for you to know something that nobody else knows? That is an indication to you. Celebrate the moment. Acknowledge it. Smile. Share it with somebody else. Check off the box, right? Check off the calendar. Right? Whisper to yourself, this is who I am now. That's a celebration. So take the time to put those things in place, because they will give you that dopamine burst, that dopamine that comes. It'll help. It will say to your brain, this is who we are now. So there's also a power of daily micro celebrations. So these these are the things that happen on a daily, small changes, small thoughts that we have. All of a sudden, you notice, man, I did not think a negative thought today. Small changes. Every celebration is a vote for the person you're becoming. When we talked about balanced bites, right? Every bite counts. We talked about movement. Every movement counts. And everything that you do, every celebration, every place where you see that you've improved, all of those micros, they are a vote for the person you're becoming. And that is worth it. They reinforce that identity. You're telling your brain, this is what I do. This is who I am. It's like the difference between I am trying not to smoke and I am not a smoker. There's a difference. The words that we use, they help us to celebrate. When we celebrate, we're saying to our brain, we're saying to our mind, we're saying to that inner coach, this is who we are now. Those micro wins, the micro wins, they help us to reinforce that identity. They also make the journey enjoyable. Because granted, right? So the truth is, there's already a lot of stuff in our life. There's already a lot of negativity. There's already things that are pushing against us from making changes. There's resistance in our environment. And when we celebrate those micro wins, it makes it just that much easier for us to push through. There are times when I'm sitting and I look over at my son and I'm smiling. I'm smiling because I see something in him that is a micro win for me. If you only reward yourself at times when there are these big things, then that can be very difficult. If your only reward is at the end, you'll lose motivation. You'll lose drive. Consistency will wane. Celebration makes the process feel worth it. Not just the result, but every day. Because remember, the journey that we're on is also very important. The goal, where we're heading, yeah, love it. That's what we're doing. That's our SMART goal. That is where our North Star statement is taking us. But every single day, the journey has to be a part of it, and we can enjoy the journey as we move. And those micro wins, they create momentum. A single win, celebrated well, turns into 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then it becomes limitless living. It becomes a lifestyle. I pointed, but this is Paris hat, but limitless living. Right? It becomes a lifestyle. Because consistency, when you do something well over time, you see results. Because it starts off and then it builds and it builds and it builds, and eventually we see the big result of what we've been building. And that's the goal. So we want to celebrate. We want to celebrate. We want to celebrate all of those spaces where we're seeing the benefits, where we're seeing those wins, when we're seeing the changes that are going on. Every pound that you lose, every pound that you lose is good. People will say to me, man, I only lost a half a pound. Yes, it's a micro win. Celebrate it. So this is a very important and very interesting conversation, because this is where we sometimes lose our way. We're deep into the final stretches of this path that we've been on. And this focus of celebrating large and small wins, it's not just the big milestones. It's not just when we get there. Now we're almost to this aspect of our journey, right? You're almost there. We started out in the ones. We weren't sure if we can get there. And then we were in the teens, in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And look at this, y'all, in the 90s in number of days that you've been consistent. Celebrate every single day now. As we go forward, man, every day is a celebration. Because I'm looking for the 100. I'm looking for where we're heading. Well, as I always say, this is one of my favorite conversations. But we can never leave a conversation without what? Without our challenge. So let's go ahead, grab your journal, and let's begin. Because this is a space that is going to be very important. And in this tool that you're doing, this process that you're going to create here, I want you to apply this for everything that you're doing as you move forward. So grab your journal. So write down one big win that you've accomplished during these 93 days. Did I say 93? Yes, 93. What's one big win? How did it feel? What did it take to get there? How did you celebrate? Or how will you celebrate? How will you celebrate? And then I want you to list 3 small wins that you've had. Those micro wins. What have you had this week? It could be a decision. It could be a mood shift. It could be a step that you took. What was it? What was the micro win? And then I want you to plan one way to celebrate each one of those. I want you to celebrate a big win. I want you to make it meaningful, right? Maybe you buy yourself a token. Maybe you go and buy a pin. Like I have one person who, as they've moved through their weight journey, right? Every time they hit a weight goal, they went out and they bought a particular pin. And you can find those online. You can find them in stores. You may decide that there is a particular thing that you like to collect, whether it's a coin, whether it's a stamp. Like I said, I collect pins. Whatever it is, when you've reached there, let that be, okay, I get one, and get a box, get a shadow box like I've done. And begin putting those there. So celebrate, whatever it's going to be for you, make it meaningful. And then share it with your friends. Take a walk. Treat yourself to something that you like. Something restorative. Something that you could put up on the wall, so that when people say to you, hey, what are those? You could tell them the story. I was in a meeting just this morning with a group from our church, and we were working on putting together the history of our church, creating the archives of our church. And one of the points that someone was making is that when we get this, when we're able to display the thing that we're putting together, people now can ask, hey, what's that? Tell me about that. Tell me about this story. Tell me about that person. Tell me about this. So it's there. It's memorialized. At the end of this 100-day walk to consistency, you got to memorialize it. What is it going to be? Share it with somebody. Let them know what's going on. So you've come a long way. And it's time to celebrate that. Not just the transformation, but the choices you made each and every single day to keep showing up. Because success is not made in giant leaps. Those steps are important. And those steps deserve to be honored. But it's also made in one simple change at a time. Tomorrow we're coming back and talking about another keystone idea. Every single day that you show up, every time that you're here, you are adding to the support, you're adding to the foundation of what you're building. Today we're celebrating. Celebrate often. Celebrate the big, celebrate the small. Just don't let your wins go unnoticed. I'm so excited that you're here. As we are moving towards the end of this aspect of our journey, this is just the beginning. This is not where it ends. Keep an eye out as we talk about, well, what do we do next? Strength, strategy, mindset. That's where we are heading. And your goal is not to finish 100 days and be done. Your goal is, how do I transform myself and maintain that person for the rest of my life? Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. Thank you for joining me. I am glad that you are here. Every day that you show up, you are making a decision for yourself. We're building, we're growing. Right here, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We're living a limitless life. And limitless living says that we are doing whatever we need to do to break free from the shackles We're not allowing anything to hinder us. We're presenting our best self, our best health, and our best plans for our life. I'll see you tomorrow for day number 94. I'll see you on the walk. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode, and as we approach the end of our 100-day walk to consistency and health, I want to pause and invite you to look ahead, because what we've built together is just the beginning of an even more powerful journey. Over the past 100 days, you've developed a habit. You've developed resistance, resilience. You've developed strength, and things that formed the cornerstone of your success. Now, as we close this chapter, I'm excited to share that our next series is on the horizon that's going to build on everything that you've learned so far. In the upcoming series, we want to dive deeper into advanced strategies that harness your newly cultivated strengths, refine your mindset, and elevate your strategic thinking. Imagine transforming daily consistency into an unstoppable force that propels you to tackle even greater challenges with confidence. My vision for the next phase is simple: to empower you not only to sustain your current success, but to channel it into innovative strategies that drive you past these impacts that you've had to more lasting, more fulfilling impacts. We've explored how to leverage your inner strength and channel it into areas of leadership, creativity, and advanced personal growth. And we're going to go further. The habits you formed are the foundation on which you can build a life of limitless potential. Every lesson, every win, every setback during the past 100 days has prepared you for what's next. Think of today as a bridge where the consistency and the discipline that you've mastered become a stepping stone towards a future when strategy meets mindset. In the next series, it's designed to help you integrate these principles to every aspect of your life, making your progress both sustainable and exponential. I invite you to stay tuned and actively participate as we embark on this new chapter. Reflect on your journey so far and consider the way that you can take these lessons to the next level. Let's step into the future together. Thank you for being part of this transformative journey. Your growth, resilience, and commitment are what this community needs. Get ready to embrace the next series, where your strengths, strategy, and mindset will propel you to even greater heights. Stay tuned, and I'll see you as we begin this exciting new chapter together.